Rockets, and you're listening to
the All Over the Place podcast, where the fun sanity never ends.
All right, welcome back to All Over the Place, the official podcast of Media Pub Live. I'm your host, Eric Provoznik. As always, we've got Jim Culver in the house.
Hey.
And Marty, a.k.a. the Dude, from a castle far, far away.
What's up?
And Christine. All right, we are all here. And as you can kind of tell, folks, we are in a patriotic mode on this Independence Day. There's going to be fireworks on the 4th of July.
4th of July.
Well done.
Red, white, and blue. There we go. Even Bigfoot's getting patriotic.
Yep.
There we go.
And here's Washington State, where Bigfoot lives.
I
like it.
Represent. And I am wearing, this is the actual Declaration of Independence on my shirt. And there's the guy down here. He's around here somewhere. Philip Livingston, of course. I'm proud to be a descendant on that line. Philip Livingston. Again, I'm harkening back to the Schoolhouse Rocks from the 70s. And we are going to talk today about our favorite patriotic movies. It's a threefer, as you can kind of tell, since Christine's with us. And we're all festively adorned today. And I even got, there we go, little Michael Stanley band in the heartland. Down here we have my grandfather Steve's flag, Marine veteran, Semper Fi. And our top 3 patriotic films and one song. We're not being contrarian this week. Marty, what are you doing? We can't see you.
I don't know.
If you're listening, folks, you have no idea what's going on. So I'm going to move on. And so our top 3 patriotic films and our number 1 pick song-wise for just gets us pumped up to raise that flag on up the flagpole. And I'm going to start out because I've been told that if we're doing a 3-2-1 or whatever it is, that someone may have my number 1 in their number 1 through 3. So for me, my number 1 patriotic film, 1984, that grandest of all years, entertainment-wise, and the first movie to be released as a PG-13 film from the mighty John Milius with a cast of characters from, it was my generation. It was pre-Brat Pack, everybody. And, you had the Swayze, C. Thomas Howell.
Keep going.
Charlie Sheen, Jennifer Grey, Leah Thompson, none other than the original Red Dawn. And on 3, can I get a Wolverines? 1, 2, 3.
Wolverines!
There we go. We're hokey folks here on this Independence Day edition of All Over the Place. And Red Dawn is just a movie every 4th of July, every Independence Day. I fire it up. It's got the great quote from Teddy Roosevelt about us being this great nation and that pride rock. And these are kids and young adults fighting for freedom. And it could get a little hokey at times, but damn it, I was 14 years old and it was pro-America. It was Ronald Reagan's America. And a lot of people don't realize now, millennials, Gen Z, whoever it is, we lived under the threat of nuclear war. We did not know. I mean, you think about all the songs of the time, the movies of the time, the books, and just not just all pop culture. It was a real threat. The Soviets were a real threat, and Red Dawn. Could it have happened? Maybe, maybe not. But it's the movie itself is a great work of possible, fiction spreading with a little fact. And just one thing I love about the DVD, and this thing does deserve a Blu-ray edition. There's no Blu-ray out for it yet, and I will buy it in a heartbeat. Yes, I know it's physical media, and Christine's kids can make fun of me for non-streaming stuff. I don't care. I have a Blu-ray player. It needs a Blu-ray. But the DVD edition, you can flip a switch, and you get a carnage counter, I believe is what it is called. And you along the bottom there's a ticker where you get there's Soviet deaths, U.S. deaths, and what else is on it? RPGs fired. It's just a mess of awesomeness, and it's Red Dawn. That's my number 1 pick. Dissect away, folks.
Oh,
Well, the Carnage. First of all, the Carnage counter that gag was reused in another Charlie Sheen movie, Hot Shots Part 2.
Oh,
So
okay.
I didn't realize until now that was a reference to that, but I'm going to assume it is, considering all the in jokes about other Charlie Sheen movies there are in that. But yeah, absolutely brilliant movie. You know, it kind of gets, some people kind of write it off as a slice of 80s cheese, but it's actually, I mean, it's insanely well made, beautifully written. The dialogue is beautifully written. I mean, John Milius is just an unparalleled mad genius that really only came along once in a generation.
Amen.
yeah.
And of course, a wild personality that inspired Walter from the Big Lebowski. But just, yeah, utterly fascinating, wonderful guy, and yeah, I really wish he was still making movies. But yeah, great movie, a great pick.
That's another thing that a Blu-ray edition would do well, to have a John Milius audio track, commentary track, because the DVD doesn't have it. But that's my number one, and Jim, I'm gonna throw to you. My Jim's cat corner for me tonight. There we go, down and away.
Yeah, gonna right there.
Yes,
Okay.
there we go.
Okay, so my number one pick is Iron Man.
Yes.
And I know that's probably maybe a little surprising as a Marvel movie, because I mean, you could really pick any of the Captain America movies as maybe a bit more appropriate, but I just think Iron Man is a fantastic movie, and there's so much in there about American innovation and American exceptionalism, and you know, just both the power America has in the world and the responsibility that goes along with that, and all the value that America has in the world. And yeah, I think it's just a fantastic movie for Valentine's Day, and one of my certainly one of my favorite comic book movies.
Yeah, that's an excellent.
Valentine's Day?
Of course, it's so romantic.
Great Valentine's Day movie.
Okay.
What happened?
Independence Day, Valentine's Day. It's all about love of America, love of your significant other. It's all the same. It's all love, baby.
Did I say
love?
Did I say Valentine's Day?
You sure did, Jim.
I thought
Oh,
you were
shoot.
goofing around.
I thought you were
Okay,
making a joke. I was like, what now?
No, my brain is just not functioning the way it should be tonight. So bear with me. No,
You
4th
want-
of July.
Do you want me to fix it in post? An odd dub. Jim's talking, all of a sudden, so I was like, it's a perfect Independence Day movie.
Come on, you're a voiceover guy. Good voice
I'll work on it. I'll see what I can do there, Jim.
That's all good.
All
It's all good. You can leave the stupidity in. It's all good.
It's all over the place, folks. We never know where we're going. It's fun. All right, Marty, in your castle, tucked away there in an otherwise secret location in the New England Northeast part of America. Your number one or your number three, however you want to count it down.
On me.
Well, I'll go with some corniness. Who cares? It's patriotism. It could be anything you like.
Yes.
Team America. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't tease us. Why not?
Well, it gets an honorable mention for me. So Top Gun. It's
The original or Maverick?
The original one.
Okay.
Back then when it came out, I mean, like you had mentioned, you know, heels of the Cold War, you know, by the way, coming to a country near you possibly soon. We'll see. It was just, it wasn't, you know, kind of a everybody love America type hoorah, cheer on, but I loved it because it showed how great we were, how great our naval aviators were, and how there's not a lot of competition out there when it came to that. And it was just a really feel good thing. And the goddamn MiGs and them Ruskies. I loved it. I didn't quite tear up, but you know, it was a little misty in that theater.
See, I was going to put it in my. It's an honorable mention for me. Maverick is. I mean, look, I don't dislike the original, but I thought Maverick very much more played into American exceptionalism.
Definitely did.
And I did tear up a little bit. in Maverick with certain things. So, or not tear, but I just the goosebumps, America goosebumps, most definitely. But again, it's I think that they.
It wasn't aimed at pulling on your American sort of tear nerve, the first one, the original, but just everything about it was sort of like the you had Goose dying, and you had all the things that a guy might go through. It's way worse for guys that aren't pilots. So to me, it was just an example of how good we can be.
Yeah,
that was my phone. Sorry.
Someone step on a cat.
Yeah. So it just, I guess it just made me feel like I was very proud to be an American, and that American superiority, and big stupid ego.
I swear to God, if you pick Lee
I
Greenwood,
swear to God,
How
if
to Be
you
an
bust into
American,
that song,
I'm cutting you off. That's it. I'll storm out like you did with Scarface when I ragged on Scarface. I'm out.
Oh, man.
Well, that's not Lee Greenwood, but leave Lee Greenwood alone. That was a great song.
That was a great song. I agree.
See that?
He didn't know. Eric don't know what he's talking about. That's an awesome song.
And that is not shocking. By the way, Eric,
as they say, you don't want to know your heroes, and I've heard some stories about Lee Greenwood's ego at some FOA events, but neither here nor there.
Well,
Great sentiment, fine. All right.
You make the bad mistake of knowing too much. And by the way, that's a great shirt you got there, Eric. What's on that?
Oh, I thought we already talked about that. Oh, well, do you want the one underneath?
No, the one with the writing on it. What do you got there?
Oh, that's the Declaration of Independence is what that is.
Yeah, maybe you can read it later, and Christine can help you with the big words.
Man.
Nice.
All I got is 2 ones.
Somebody had a bad flight or something.
I was doing
Actually, you don't know the half of
Lash it
it.
out.
That was a little Dangerfield.
No respect at all.
Well, on a quick note, I do have, it's not a patriotic shirt, but it's a shirt that for me is an awesome freedom shirt. It's the American League Infidel that Zack Snyder was wearing to the 300.
That is a great shirt.
And to me, 300, not a patriotic film, but my God, that is a pro-freedom film if ever there was one. But that's a topic for another show, because now we're going to Christine with her number 1 patriotic movie, or number 3, whatever, however you wanted to go in the order.
Yeah, so America so much is about what we do when shit goes wrong. Houston, we have a problem. Apollo 13 is my favorite movie. It's all about the Apollo 13 lunar mission and, how things just went cataclysmically wrong, and starring Tom Hanks, Bill Paxton, Kevin Bacon, directed by Ron Howard and his string of amazing movies that he was making back then. And I'm a big fan of the space program anyway, from my days working at Honeywell Satellite Systems and being able to meet some of the astronauts and, just cool stuff. And if we worked on a particular mission, we would get a patch. But, it was just cool stuff being part of all of that.
For Honeywell? Are they going to sponsor us now if you angle enough with them?
You never know.
Oh. They're the best. Out of all the military industrial complex, they're the ones. No disrespect to my wife who works for Raytheon.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, Nick knows. But I love space, and just such a great movie about the human spirit and coming together and making stuff happen. And because they really should have died on that mission, but they made it home, shockingly.
Yeah, like Ed Harris's character said, it turned out to be their finest hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good movie.
That was some incredible stuff they did.
And don't forget the loving wife back down on the ground, Kathleen Quinlan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Already forgot about her.
It's not the 90s anymore. Easily forgotten, indeed. All right. Well, my number 2. I'm going to go with Team America, World Police. Fuck
America.
Look, it's over the top, beyond silly. It's Trey and Matt. It's the South Park guys. But man, it's fun, and it shows us warts and all that America. You pull the kid gloves off, and we're We'll look out for it. We'll make some mistakes along the way, but in the end, we are a freedom-loving nation. We are not a colonial nation, as we so often get accused of by I won't get too pissy with the other side, but it's a fun movie, and God, it's outrageous, and that's America, fun and outrageous.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
A
I've
great soundtrack, like any Trey and Matt movie. Great soundtrack.
their music is amazing. Yeah. I've gotten into YouTube channels where people react to movies lately. I think those are a lot of fun. And I actually found a video where a group of Muslim immigrants living in England reacted to that movie, and they absolutely loved it. They were laughing their heads off. They were singing along with the music, "America, F yeah!" Like they were completely into it. Like it's just one of those things. It's like you think this would be that comedy would be divisive, but I think there's a lot of universal stuff in there that people love. I mean, I think patriotism honestly is something that can be very universal, that people can get into even if it's not their country. They can appreciate that as a value. So some of the things that, and obviously that's not, the movie is satirical. I'm just saying that there's a lot of things in that humor that I think anyone can appreciate. And it's hilariously profane. It absolutely, it's as the cliche goes, would not get made today, but it's just laugh out loud funny. And no matter where you're coming from on it.
All right, Marty, to you.
To me.
Yes.
All right. Well, mine's very campy, but after yours, I feel perfectly comfortable. Rocky IV. Rocky IV.
It's
made me cheer like an idiot at a movie that was made over several months to a year, but the scenes just made me cheer. It was just so good. Apollo dies, and Rocky's got to do the thing, and the spirit of American greatness shall prevail.
James Brown singing "Living in America."
James Brown.
Yep.
I mean, it was one too many training montages for me, which, of course, in a montage, which we saw in Team America, parodied there. But the montage, but I watched that, it was last year or the year before when Stallone put out the director's cut, which really only added maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And it still is my least favorite Rocky, but the sentiment that Sly wanted to get across, like if I can change and you can change, and it's again, it didn't bring down the Soviet Union the way that Gorbachev and Thatcher and Pope John Paul II did, and Reagan, and then but it's so Rocky IV, yeah, it's good patriotic.
It was fun. There was a lot of hats like Christine's, stuff like that. The song was catchy. The villain was really cool. And, what's 14 montages between friends?
A very, very short script.
I think that
Yes.
the montage dialogue split was about 60-40.
You're being generous.
And I will say...
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, if you see Creed 2 and then go back and see Rocky IV, it really does give it a lot of extra depth.
Yes, absolutely.
Once you see how that story ends for those characters.
Excellent point. Yeah, definitely. Okay, Christine, to you for your number 2.
Okay, well, my second one, and I gotta say, I'm typically not a really big war movie type person. It's just, just doesn't. They're not typically not real feel good movies. But this one that we actually just recently saw, Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Holy smokes, that was so intense, so good. And I think it just really cuts to the heart of like how military people are, and coming off a year where I was working with a guy who was in special ops, and, talking to him about different things that he'd been through, overseas with the wars and all that. And God, Jake Gyllenhaal, like I'm typically not a big Jake Gyllenhaal fan either. He kind of bugs me a lot of times, but dang, was he good in that movie. He was really good. And it just was riveting from start to finish, I thought.
I got to see it.
Loved it. It was such a good movie. Yes, you do need to see it. It was such a good movie. Mhm.
Well, Christine was sitting next to me, in that, and it's time for the dogs. But I get fired up in stuff like that, and as I mentioned with Team America, it's just like we are the greatest fighting force in the history of the world, maybe except for those guys in 300, because they didn't want to mess with the Spartans, but. Take the gloves off of us. And just based on a true story and knowing, that we left certain people, just hanging in the wind with that stuff, and then to go back and avenge them like Jake Gyllenhaal's character did. And just, yeah, it's good call from Miss Christine there.
Well,
Yeah,
I gotta
Thank
say
you.
it.
Jim, have you seen it yet?
I have not seen that one, but I definitely want to, and I will say that Guy Ritchie has been absolutely on fire lately. The Sherlock Holmes movies, The Gentleman. What else did he do recently? The Man from U.N.C.L.E. remake, which bombed, but was actually really, really good. He just knows how to make these really cool, masculine, tough action thrillers, and I'm definitely psyched to see that one.
Yeah, I cannot recommend that one enough. And that's actually in my list of honorable mentions, but we'll get to those later because I've got a little special section about my honorable mentions. But Jim, for now, you're number 2.
Okay, my number 2 is National Treasure.
Yes,
which is such a fun movie. Obviously, a lot depends on whether you like Nicolas Cage or not. I really think this is like the least Nicolas Cagey of his performances. He plays it straight, has a lot of fun with it. It's such a fun Indiana Jones style adventure, and has so much to say about the value of knowing American history and how important it is. And really how sacred. I mean, there really are scenes that almost gave me chills because of how, because it treated American history in such a sacred way. And it came out, I think, in 2000. I want to say 2006 or early 2000s. During a time when patriotism wasn't high in our culture.
right.
It was high in our country, but not in our culture. So for this movie to come out then, that really celebrated the value of knowing your history and celebrating it was great. So it was just such a fun movie, that one, and even the sequel was really good too. Yeah, that's definitely on my list.
Sequel's good too.
Oh,
Sequel's good
solid.
too.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, for sure. They're both a lot of fun and really good patriotic movies.
And it's hard to go wrong when you got Sean Bean as your enemy, your villain.
And he should be grateful it was a Disney movie because he actually lived through it. Minor spoilers for those who haven't seen it, but he's the bad guy, but he does survive.
And you have it's one of the few ones where you did get Sean Bean living, yeah. But and an American Patriot and John Voight having a nice part in that movie as well.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, he was great in that. Diane Kruger, who is just this absolutely gorgeous, and she's German, but she plays an American really well. And even Justin Bartha, the actor who went on to be in the Hangover movies as Nicolas Cage's sidekick, is really funny.
Yeah, he was a very good foil. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the actors are just that whole movie just kind of fired on all cylinders. It was really good. I don't think anybody expected it to be good. It was just kind of this cheesy Nicolas Cage adventure, and nobody thought it was going to be much, but it actually came out and was really good. So
the dark horses, love when they come out of nowhere.
Yes.
All right, we're going to go with my number 3. Well, I'm going to bookends with not the number 1, the Iron Man number. Jim, that was your number 1. I'm going with Captain America: Winter Soldier, and that to me, it speaks to the libertarian in me, the again pro-America, and being invasive, and Captain America just sticking up like, this isn't right. Get out of our phones, get out of our secrets, get out freedom.
Yeah,
and Cap just kicks some ass.
Yeah, I will say I know all three of those Captain America movies. They were very different in tone and what happens. But the thing I appreciated about it is it really cut to the heart of uh, Cap as a character, because in each of those situations he had to pick the side of freedom, and he always did. Even when it was difficult and it cost him everything. And that's kind of, I think that's a really good message to send for, especially for young viewers, is when you're not sure and everyone's against you and everything's unclear, just err on the side of freedom and things tend to work out. And if you err on the side of jumping on freedom, of going against freedom for the sake of making things easy or safe, then things don't tend to work out so well. So I think if you take the Captain America movies as a trilogy, I think that's a really good overarching message in there.
Yep. And that's why I don't consider myself an ex-Democrat. I don't consider myself a Republican. I consider myself an American. And as you can kind of see, I love this country, warts and all. But we're going to get into that when we talk about the song. So, Christine, up to you for your number 3.
Okay. So my number 3, I'm surprised it hasn't come up yet, but Forrest Gump is my 3rd movie.
Okay.
Yeah. It's one that is typically on a lot on the 4th of July. So you kind of can't miss it. But it's one of those that anytime it's on, you got to sit at least for a chunk of it and watch it. And it's one of those that front to back, upwards, downwards, backwards, forwards, the whole deal. And I know what love is, Jenny.
And even though it has Creedence Clearwater Revival on the soundtrack, Christine likes this movie.
Yes, yeah, I do still like that movie. Yeah.
Because deep down inside, you love Creedence. Way deep.
I really don't.
Deep. Down by your heels.
Yeah,
and the cockles, the subcockles.
Yeah.
Maybe in the subcockle era, we don't know.
Yeah.
All right, and Marty, rounding out your our top 3 with your number 3.
This is my number 1. I've been going.
Oh, you're going 3, 2, 1. All right, so your number 1, drum roll.
I'm a contrary type guy. Drum roll. Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan. Love the movie. Love every single second of the movie, even the ugly parts. To me, that I touched on it a little with the Top Gun thing, but this movie shows every aspect of the things that, it's the greatest generation on maybe their greatest day and their greatest week, doing things that they didn't have to do. Just the opening of the movie, it's brutal, but man, I'll tell you what, that generation sacrificed so much for what we have now. And how can we, to me, that gives me a lot of pride that I'm kind of walking in their shadow. The idea that going after one guy, well, that's kind of we're using a lot of resources, but he did it because it was the right thing to do. That's what Americans do. They do the right thing most of the time. And the thing that gives me chills is the Lincoln letter that General Marshall read. It's a real lady, Bixby, something like that. Anyway, it was Jim, our resident expert, who played General Marshall in Saving Private Ryan.
His name is Harvey Presnell.
Unbelievable. That gave me goosebumps for the 10 minutes after it was over. That movie to me really just sums up what Americans will do if they think it's the right thing. If it's the right thing to do and it still hurts, do it anyway. And here we are. And I just loved it. Anyway.
I really need to watch that movie again because I did like it when it came out, but at the same time, first off, you mentioned the opening sequence. I don't think we're ever going to find a movie with as realistic a depiction of war as that opening sequence.
Yeah.
And it was so great to me that after that, I just felt that Spielberg fell into too many, like, oh, I think I like this better the first time around when I saw this scene in Empire of the Sun.
Yeah.
And so but what you're mentioning, Marty, I think I need to do a revisit on this one. Well, I'll Schindler's List is still on my list of movies to watch, as we learned on a prior Threefer. But I think that Saving Private Ryan is in order for me.
And watch it with that lens of, this is Americans went through a lot of hell to well, I mean, it was for our benefit too, but to essentially free Europe, to get them back.
And I've since the movie, I've actually been very privileged to meet a few people who were there. They laid to rest the American soldiers, and they went over there to help with the process of recovering them and bringing them back to the United States. And I think I'll have looking through the lens, a better perspective of when I was 27, 28 when that one came out, late 90s.
Oh, and then also the graveyard scene at Arlington. I mean, heavy. Yeah. Just Anyway, I think you all get what I'm saying. Sorry, when I knocked.
And Jim, great. This is Jim was our movie guy. Harvey Presno, bam, pulling that out of there. Didn't even think about it.
I got chills from him doing that, just pulling that out. Like
that was impressive. That was
he's a great character actor going way back to the 40s and 50s.
Yeah,
was in a lot of classic stuff, but didn't really get his due. I think everybody kind of remembers him from Fargo now as the rich father-in-law. But that scene where he did the Lincoln Letter was really brilliant.
Wasn't he in Gunsmoke or The Rifleman or one of those? I think he was in one of those shows as a young person. Anyway,
yeah, he was around a lot back then, but he just never really was a name, So he really got to make it big with some of those 90s movies he got into before he unfortunately passed away. But yeah, that scene was absolutely brilliant. That was a great scene with Lincoln Letter.
I mean, this is kind of weird, but the Foley was just spectacular. The sound of his shoes walking across the floor, and then the squeaking chair, and the whole thing was just done so good, so well. It was done so well.
That's it. Red Dawn and Saving Private Ryan next Tuesday, Independence Day.
There you go.
List.
Good choice.
And let's go through. Let's do a quick little round robin here with a few of our honorable mentions. But before we get going on that, I'll cede the floor. But I just want the one line. One of what I love. Stripes is, yes, I'm not going to call it a patriotic movie. It's just a damn funny movie. But Bill Murray's monologue where he's talking about the United States of America, we're mutts. We come together, and it doesn't matter who we are, what walk of life we are. We're mutts, and we get the job done. I disagree with we're 14-1. We won Vietnam. I'm not going to get into that right now, but we are undefeated when you take the kid gloves off and don't worry about nuance and bullshit. And we're mutts. We're Americans, God damn it. And I just love that scene. But Jim, I'm going to go to you first with hit us with a few of your honorable mentions because it's Independence Day.
Yeah.
And
okay, before I do that though,
beloved show. So go.
Yep. Okay, before I do that, are we doing 3? Because I've only done 2 so far.
Really? Oh, I'm sorry. I missed you.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought. Oh, okay. That's on me, folks.
That's okay.
I'm an umpire. Unless I have my indicator in my hand, I don't count very well.
That's okay.
3 is a big number. 3 is big. That's hard.
3 is big. Yeah.
And
so
I'm giving 4 my indicator. Yeah. So you're number 3. Sorry about that.
Then there's 2, and then the other one.
Then there's 1. 2 of them.
Martin
I
Scully
love that guy. I love him.
Okay. So my number 3 is Miracle. One of my favorite sports movies. Yes. Yeah, movie about my favorite sport, which does not get filmed enough. It's a brilliant movie, very patriotic. It works beautifully as kind of a metaphor for American exceptionalism. And I think Christine mentioned, America is at its best when things are at their worst. And, it's really a movie about about a period where America was kind of having a rough time down in the dumps. And this amazing team came together and gave America something to cheer for and something to stand up for again. So that's great movie. Kurt Russell's brilliant in it, and the director Gavin O'Connor's made a whole bunch of good movies since he started with that one. Warrior especially is a fantastic movie. That's my third one, Miracle. So
Jimmy Carter's Malaise was swept aside by Herb Score's ragtag bunch of kids.
Yeah.
You said it.
Malaise.
Jim Craig, Micah Ruzioni. Good time.
Who do you play for? All right. Anyway, I could recount that whole movie, but I'm not going to go there.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, Jen. I missed you on the going around the Threefer. So I'm going to start with you. Give us a few of the honorable mentions.
Okay. Yeah. Some of these are actually so obvious. I'm surprised they haven't come up yet. But Armageddon, that's one. Wonderfully cheesy Michael Bay movie.
I agree.
Of course, Independence Day. How could you not?
Love it.
And this is one a lot of people didn't like, but I think it's a really fun popcorn movie and very patriotic. Battleship.
I heard nothing but bad about it, so I never bothered. But it is,
dude. It is so much fun. It is such a fun movie. It's super patriotic. It's super pro-military. I really think that movie did not get a fair shake. I think if you watch it on DVD at home with some popcorn, you would absolutely love it. But I know I probably just ruined all my movie cred. But
I'm surprised, and of course I blank on the director is such a
Peter Berg. Yeah,
Peter Berg is such a super patriotic guy, and Taylor Kitsch, and he worked so well together. You know what? That's it. That's three movies I got to watch now on Independence Day.
Yeah, there you go.
I was going to be in front of the TV the whole day. I'm not on a baseball field, so I will have time to enjoy my second favorite thing, watching movies.
There you go. Okay, and real quick, my last honorable mention is a movie called Thank You for Smoking.
Yes.
Really entertaining, funny, smart movie. I think if you're going to have a holiday about freedom, which I think is what 4th of July is, it's really a movie about freedom and about what America is about, and kind of the importance of freedom and the responsibility that goes along with it. And it's just a really fun, hilarious movie. So
I totally forgot about that one. That's a hilarious movie.
Yeah, I love it. I rewatch it all the time.
And I'm going to go ahead and pass, just so you know, because all of the movies that I had were mentioned. So we'll just.
Oh. I'm guessing then Red Dawn was in your honorable mentions? That's why we had to get me going first, folks, to get that out of the way. So Marty,
and I had Rocky 4 in my honorable mentions, and Team America World Police also.
Yeah, as did I.
Well, Marty, here's with a few more of your.
There's a couple. One's not so much of a patriotic movie, but it's more of a scene. I take that back. It's not. Remember the Titans. Fantastic movie.
Yes.
It was really the fact that it really happened, or at least there was some semblance of what happened in that movie. Just kind of showing what happens when humans are forced together and just allowed to be humans. They end up realizing that they're just people, and they, all the other stuff is all created by assholes, really. Racism and bigotry and the like is all, but he ran them boys down to Gettysburg, and that speech, Denzel, that was fantastic. Really,
such
really
a great
good.
scene.
Especially as the guy who was so awesome in Glory.
Yeah.
Another good choice.
Yeah. Which I'm surprised didn't come up at all in all this, and it did make my honorable mention. So
it was on my. That was the other one, Glory.
Okay.
Yeah. So
there I go, stealing thunder, missing numbers.
That's just an honorable mention thing. You had it too.
Well, for my honorable mentions, I just lumped all the true stories, or again, ones as best as you can,
Star Wars.
on facts. But especially the ones that have come out in recent years with the war on terror. And I put like Christina has mentioned The Covenant, Lone Survivor, American Sniper, 12 Strong with Chris Hemsworth kind of got swept under the rug. And that movie was great. And a Michael Bay movie, which almost made my number 3 cut. Well, actually, I almost United 93. That's another one that shows American exceptionalism. The step right up, and want to talk about
rough movie, man.
Very talk about one you see once, and then okay, I'm good. But 13 Hours. I still cannot believe that Michael Bay directed that movie. It was so damn good, and just showed America back against the wall. Don't fuck with us. It's like the Alamo. It's like 300s that you don't get. This is all we got. We're going to do our damnedest to beat you and come out strong. But all those movies to me, and it's a shame that Hollywood doesn't take a cue. These movies do well. People want to see these movies. American Sniper made what, Jim? Well over 200 million, maybe 300
probably
million.
more than that. It was Clint's biggest hit at the time. It made a ton of money. Yeah, I don't remember how much, but it was a lot.
I know it made at least 200 million domestic. So yeah, that movies like that, and it's I went in deference to our good buddy Dan McClinton and all the fighting forces over there. I wish they made more movies like that. And I'm sure he and Ken Christensen will get to those, get to some narrative films down the line because people want to see them. And it's I love all of those. It's just all lumped in together as my honorable mentions. So now it's our songs. What song gets you going the most, gets you pumped up the most to raise that flag on up? Christine, going to you first because you've got the patriotic hat on.
Okay. Well, I am a Chicago girl in like all ways. I was raised on Chicago, and nothing says more St. Patrick's Day, Jim.
Or
what
Valentine's
did you do
Day.
to me?
Or
Got it
Valentine's
started.
Day, yeah. Either one. Potato.
We'll edit that part out. Nothing says 4th of July to me like a Saturday in the park. That like, and I remember one year being on a Saturday in the park watching fireworks, and it was like the song comes on and everybody's just all there together and hunkered down with our blankets, watching the fireworks, and it's summer and it's our patriotism being together on the 4th of July.
You didn't have to wish it was the 4th of July. It was the 4th of July.
Damn it, Christine. That was good. I'm mad that I didn't get that one.
All right, well, Marty, what do you have?
Well, Saturday in the Park. It's kind of like a song, and
Repetition, 15 Love.
You guys can rag on it or tell me it's not a song or it's poetry or whatever. Ragged Old Flag.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's just so good. I don't need to explain it. It's just so good. So good. There's plenty of songs, but that one gets me in the feels.
That is on my honorable mention list, and the actual for me the best performance of that one from a patriotic standpoint is from an album that came out after Johnny had passed, and his son Jack had went through the archives. From the Great Lost performance in Jersey, and Johnny just goes off in the intro to the song and saying, you want to come and burn down my flag? All right, I'm going to respect your First Amendment right, but you better realize I'm going to go take my Second Amendment right, and you try to burn my flag, I'm going to shoot you. And then he starts singing Ragged Old Flag. So yeah. Awesome choice, my friend. Awesome choice.
Love it. I do have an honorable mention. Aaron Lewis, Am I the Only One?
Ah,
very, very good. It's a little complainy, but what do we have? What do we have but our disdain?
All right, Jim. What is your pump it up?
Well, Marty stole it. It was Ragged Old Flag for me as well. But I do have an honorable mention, so I'll just make that my choice.
Yes.
Madison Rising's version of the Star Spangled Banner. It's probably not as well known, but that's an indie rock band, and they did an awesome rock version of Star Spangled Banner, and I listen to it all the time because I love it. So,
Well,
that's
I'm
my
not
pick.
familiar with it. So on next Tuesday, before or maybe in between the movies, while we're switching the formats and everything, the platforms, Madison Rising, Star Spangled
well,
Banner.
I thought the Star Spangled Banner was disallowed. Like that's the obvious number one. Like
Well,
you know,
it was
Whatever gets you
until
going.
you stole my number one, Marty.
that just seemed like a I think Tiger Woods is going to win this week. Like we're all going to pick Tiger, but
And there's our promo clip for this show. Well, another one that maybe might be an obvious choice. It was another honorable mention for me. Tons of people have done the national anthem. I know Whitney Houston's probably the most famous one, the most recognized. But Joan Jett, who is a longtime supporter of the U.S. military, and her version of the national anthem, check it out. It's just straight up, boom, boom, boom. Doesn't drag out any notes. She's like, it's respectful. Joan Jett. And I know there's a person on the staff, another Creedence Clearwater Revival anti-person, not too Joan Jetty, but this song is awesome. Even she would like it.
well, heck, since we're doing versions,
No call outs.
my new
I'll
favorite
pay for a
one-
lot of the stuff later, folks, but it's
whatever.
I'm willing to pay the price.
You're
Well,
buying
since
ice
we're
cream.
doing favorite versions, I'm going to go with Chris Stapleton's recent one. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
He nailed it. He totally nailed it.
That good call. I got chills on that one, definitely.
I was on the Whitney train. That was number one until I think that one overtook it.
I'll have to listen to that now. I've not heard that one.
Very good. And I'm not. Never mind. I forgot this is a podcast. I'm not going to say anything.
Go. Oh,
Proceed.
is that a topic for another show on the podcast?
Potentially, yes.
Okay. Well, I have one final honorable mention before I get to my number one, and it's offshooting from United 93. And this is very close to being my number one. Let's Roll by Neil Young. And I mean, the guy, he's Canadian. Dual citizenship. I'm not sure. I think he has dual citizenship in the States, whatever. But he came out, wrote that song, and that it still gives me goosebumps writing about the passengers on United 93, just those two words, let's roll. And they took down their would-be captors and there would-be killers, and they went out American heroes. And just from those two words, and Neil Young nailed it with a 3, maybe 4-minute song. So that's an honorable mention. Number one, it's a guy we brought up earlier with Living in America, James Brown. America is my home.
Yes.
And that song, again, as was brought up earlier with Team America World Police, I love this country, warts and all. And James talks about that. And James Brown was the greatest uniter. He wanted music to bring us together. The day that Martin Luther King was shot, he's scheduled to do a show in Boston, very inflammatory, racially divided town. They wanted to cancel his show. ABC was airing it nationally. He made that moment a moment of healing. And James Brown singing "America Is My Home." Yeah, we've got some warts. We've got a past. It isn't always exemplary, but as Marty brought up with Saving Private Ryan, when push comes to shove, we do the right thing. We do the best thing, and we are Americans. And the Godfather of Soul, Mr. Dynamite, Mr. Fantastic, that's my number one song. It just gets me fired up and raise the flag.
Outstanding. I love it. I love that song.
Right on.
There you have it, folks. Our Independence Day show. And we even came in under an hour. Woohoo!
We are amazing.
So any other honorable mentions, whether it's the songs or the movies, or have we run the gamut, folks?
Geez. I mean, we can go on forever, as you know.
We could with this group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Just think of go ahead there, Jimbo.
I was just going to say, I guess one of my honorable mentions should have been Neil Diamond's Coming to America, which is cheese-tastic, but a lot of fun. A lot of fun to listen to on the 4th.
It is.
Okay.
And sadly, I do not have the full version. I only have a snippet. One of the bands I was in LA, we did a heavy metal version of Coming to America, or just America.
Fun.
And I broke out my best/worst Phil Anselmo voice from Pantera, and we rocked the shit out of it.
Can you imagine your most liberal friend listening to this podcast and going, "Oh my God, these people are horrible"?
They know me, whatever. And it's funny. One of my very good friends from college and beyond. But I wrote about Red Dawn when it was still. I think I wrote about it. What was it? It was a pre-Threedonia site that I wrote for, and Modern Conservative, and it's just American propaganda. And my response to him was, yeah, so what? I'm not a love it or leave it kind of guy, but I'm like, you know what? You don't like it, change the channel. You don't like it, flip the switch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
Yep.
Yeah, you don't have to leave, but you seem awful miserable. Go ahead and go.
Do you wake up and just hate? That seems awfully exhausting to me. I love America, warts and all.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I got to do some American people watching over the last couple of days. We
got to say that for another show.
Yeah.
Marty's adventures to get to where he's going with that castle in the background, folks.
Let me tell you,
That's a show in and of itself. San Francisco, Marty saw the best and worst of America in just a span of 3 minutes.
I did.
But that's another show. This
show.
one is our Independence Day all over the place. Thanks, folks, for listening to us. We're going to be back with tons of guests and more Threefers in the coming weeks into July. So thanks, as always, for listening. Jim, Marty, Christine, thank you. Awesome picks, everybody. And we'll be back real soon here on All Over the Place, the official podcast of Media Pub Live.
USA.
Bye-bye.
All over the place, where the fun sanity never ends.